What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster in chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, it is the eve before MTG Bro. I had pre-recorded 3 episodes from the early access event. I hope you enjoyed those very early sort of version 1s of the brews for the last few days that I've been putting up. It's given me a bit of a rest, time to think, brew, plan, stuff for the channel, etc. And I'm ready. I'm rearing to go. And when you see this on the channel, it'll probably be only about 12 hours or so before the set drops. And I'm going to be right at it. For those of you already on the Discord, I'll probably do a little unpacking. I've got plenty of gold saved up, and yeah, I can't wait. I really cannot wait. The early access event gave me just a taste of the few things that are available in the set, and how it's shaping up in the meta, and some of the stronger cards and whatnot. As much as you can garner from a single day of playing, and I'm really excited for it. It was really fun to play, and lots of cool new stuff to do and try. So I thought it would be perfect on this eve to just do a quick top 10 list. I don't even really want to call it a top 10 list. It's just like having played 24 hours against some of the other content creators. Some of the cards that stood out to me, why, and then some honorable mentions, and I've just got a few things lined up that I just thought I wanted to talk about with regards to MTG Bro and impressions that I've had having played in the early access event. So, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's list. First card I wanted to talk about is, of course, the Siege Veteran. It's like new Luminarch Aspirant, and I mean, it's just as busted. It might even be better. For somehow, because Luminarch Aspirant had that only problem was you had to play it on turn 2, and it was very vulnerable, and it became this must remove target that you always kind of needed 2 Luminarch Aspirants. The chance that one of yours would get away with anything would be terrible, and you needed to have a 1 drop down to put the counter onto it, otherwise all the value's gone from it, etc. This somehow, it being on turn 3, kind of helps with that in a way, because you put something else down on turn 2 that's pretty strong, and there's some very strong options like Talia, in the soldier deck, and then you've already got a 1 drop, and you can start putting those counters, a little bit more willy-nilly, and it's even better because whenever another non-token soldier you control dies, you get a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token, and I've heard Croaky's refer to this on his channel as Anax and Luminarch Aspirant, and in a way, he's not wrong. If you get hit with a sweeper and you've got 4 or 5 soldiers out, the opponent's left with nothing, you get 5 1/1s, That's not bad. And because they're soldiers, these little artifact tokens you make, if the opponent kills your lord, the Valiant Veteran, you can just, during their end step, 5 mana, pump all your soldiers. It's pretty resilient. The soldier deck is shaping up to be ridiculous. Now it's just about figuring out which the best color combination is. The mono white is looking really strong, but I really enjoyed playing the tempo version, and I like the card draw and the flying, and there's all this. It's a little bit better dimensions. It's definitely funner to play than just mono white, slam creatures down, curve out, type of a thing. So let's see which one ends up shaping up being the best. There's many options. We could definitely, because the mana is so good with the courtyard and the dual land that they got for the tribe, that you could definitely play a 3rd color. It could be Bant, it could be Jeskai, it could be, Orzhov, even Esper soldiers. So I cannot wait to figure that out, but I just thought I'd mention that, yes, having played with it and against it, it is just as busted as initially we thought. No surprises there. Incredibly strong card. Then I put Teferi at number 2, even though it's really not on theme or on brand. It's really not my type of magic, but it's super strong. I've had people play like, play it -2, and then the next turn they just like, what's it called? Silver Scrutiny, X and 3 draw, however many X. To just make that spirit huge. The card draw is ridiculous. It's got a bit of a board wipe there, and you can get to that -12 quite easily in certain decks. It can play well, obviously, with Esper, with Rafine, because all the conniving is drawing. You're putting loyalty on your Planeswalker whenever you're attacking with Rafine. It goes well in like blue-white control with the new Urza Planeswalker. It'll probably go quite well in some sort of maybe I was thinking of doing Dimir, draw a second card deck. There's a few cards that support that in the set. So like this is super strong Planeswalker. If you're thinking about like, which one of the set would you like to craft, this is definitely a safe bet. I don't know if I would go with like a 4 or anything, but so far playing against it, it's been super ridiculous. And the Azorius control deck is looking really gnarly, and it's cool. You can play it in a deck with the other Teferi that we have in standard now, the 4-mana one in Azorius colors. Make like a Super Friends deck. They kind of work quite nicely together. A+, even though I hate to say that. Next up, I got Hostile Negotiation. This one, again, kind of obvious. It's really bonkers. It's just like basically 4-mana, draw 3, instant speed for black. And like also put stuff in your graveyard, which is often where you want it to be in these colors. It's been ridiculous. The deck I played had 3 copies. I want to still figure out like a brew that I want to be playing like a 4 of this, and it being like the main linchpin. But yeah, just incredibly strong card. I think in certain decks, like, because you have already got Sheoldred and Sorin on this position, and there's now other options as well. You kind of have to decide whether you're going like mono black control, but it just feels terrible because you don't have any sweeper now in mono black that's worthwhile. So then, because it's only got 1 black in its casting cost, you could put this in like, I'm thinking like Grixis Reanimator, for example. You could play this in like Orzhov control. It's been really bonkers. Those of you who played with Fact or Fiction will know, and it's kind of also like the new, maybe even in a domain deck, you have like this and the Sphinx. It's, you got 2 effects like that in the same deck. So many things to try. But this is one card that I really wanted to bring to your attention that, again, during early access, really impacted me, both playing with it and against it. Incredibly strong. Next up, we got Teething Wormlet, kind of toning things down a little bit. This isn't like, oh my god, gonna redefine the format, but it's just like a really solid card. In mono green, even just right now, there's plenty of things that make artifacts, like your Gala Greeters makes treasure tokens. Your what's the 4/3 for 3 that makes a clue token? I can never remember the name of. There's plenty, and then you can, now there's green artifacts like the Simeon guy you could play, and it still kind of fits the theme with the green. You could just play this in mono green, and it would still be nice. Life gain, the death touch, etc. I've played it recently in my Selesnya. I'm gonna probably put it in my Golgari artifacts brew shortly. Like this is a sweet little 1-drop. Like it's just reliable, solid, gains you a bit of life, eventually makes a good blocker. You can even in mono green, then with the death touch, you can use fight spells to remove bigger creatures like bite down and things like that. Yeah, only good things to say about Teething Wormlet. Definitely a safe craft. I think it'll be around for a while as a good option. Then we've got, stepping things up again a little bit, this guy I think we're going to hate, learn to hate pretty soon. Like in the early access, of course, everyone's just like testing new things. The decks aren't like super optimal or super optimized. It's just like, everyone's just kind of fiddling around. But straight away, even just with the few days of content, I put up a video, and all the others have already as well, of Azorius soldiers. It's going to be a thing. And if it is a thing and the meta doesn't adapt and find a solution to it, then Sky Strike Officer is a very, very important part of that thing. It's just ridiculous. You can like flash in the reinforcements card during the opponent's second turn. Then you play this on turn 3. Now, even if they go to remove it, you can still draw a card. Because you don't have to pay mana, nothing. You just have to have 3 untapped soldiers, which can include itself at instant speed at any point. You can draw a card. The amount of, block, and then before the opponent's creatures go to damage, you use those creatures that you're chump blocking with to draw a card. I've done in testing with this one, and with the buff from the Anthem effect, the Lord, the Valiant Veteran, this becomes a 3/4. It dodges a lot of removal, and it just keeps attacking in the air, keeps on making a 1/1 every time, and that kind of helps with all your other things. It's ridiculous. We're probably going to be rolling our eyes when this hits the battlefield on turn 3, like when they curve out perfectly with their soldiers. Yeah. Hi Karamba. Super strong card. Next up. This one I haven't played much with. I did make a couple brews, but I was running out of time. But I've, had a lot of time to think about it, and it was played against me quite a bit. It's really strong. Even in the previously I mentioned this Dimir draw second card deck, but even just in Esper mid-range, Esper Legends, or whatever you want to call it, right now, this would fit great as another 2-drop. Whenever you've drawn 2 or more, so, whenever you're conniving, you play this into Rafine, attack, you get the card draw, you get the, it's bonkers. It's really strong little uncommon, and a super safe craft. Like, obviously, I'm sure you've got 4 uncommons lying about. You may even open this in your packs. This is more just like take a look at this pretty neat card that I think it's gonna be a staple until it rotates. If that deck is strong, which it looks like it's still just really strong, 2-drop into Rafine into Shieldred is still just bonkers. And this just helps that out as well. Then, I think we're into the... Okay, no, we're still in the kind of top 10 list or whatever. This card, there's a lot. Like, even more now with the Mishra's Foundries and things of these non-basic lands. And specially control decks and things play lots of different weird non-basic lands, any kind of 3-color deck. So this ends up costing you only 2 black to return it from the graveyard to the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, to 2 black mana more often than not in many games, and that's insane because you can do it during the opponent's end step. You untap with the 4/2 for 2 mana, and then they just kill it. It just keeps coming back. It's really strong. It reminds me of, there's been loads of these. I guess it's like having another tenacious underdog. It's also, it can't block, which is obviously a pity, but it can still crew Bankbuster. And yeah, I think, I don't know. This one I'm not sure of. Maybe in this mono black aggro deck, because now black, either you're going to splash another color if you want to play it in a more control type of a way. So probably Rakdos, probably Orzhov or whatever. Fine. But if you want to play mono black, I don't think you can play control right now because there's no sweeper. Control deck without a sweeper isn't really a control deck, in my opinion. So it's looking like the best bet is probably either aggro or mid-range. And if the black aggro deck is a thing, I think this is going to be a part of it. So I'm going to definitely be testing that out sooner rather than later. Stay tuned to the channel. But this is a sweet one. This is a sweet one. Next up, ooh, this was also recently in a video I just put up, the Steel Seraph. I still want to test it in Angels because it's an Angel, but just in Artifacts Matters, in any like color that plays white, it's just amazing. The Vigilance, Lifelink. I mean, you can, based on the board states, like maybe you want to give Vigilance because you're worried about a Wandering Emperor. Maybe you give Lifelink because you want to, you know, gain some life. I really love the play of turn 2, Bankbuster. Turn 3, play the Steel Seraph, crew the Bankbuster, give the Bankbuster lifelink or whatever. Attack with the Bankbuster with lifelink on turn 3. Really nice. Just in general, like, this is a sweet ass card, and 6 mana has been fine to get to with all like little incidental power stones and whatnot, and even without that. And in an Angel deck, you could cheat it out a little bit earlier with the mana from Giada. So maybe just another just like must-have 3-drop slot for the Angels that you can also play in the late game. I think definitely gonna be trying that out sooner rather than later. So yeah, just all around like one of my favorite cards so far from the set. Then Mechanized Warfare. I've got a brew lined up with this. This is gonna finally make mono red burn viable, I think. It's sort of, I don't know, I can see it forming. I've been testing a deck now that runs 3 Chandras, 3 Jaya, and 4 Manaform Hellkite, 4 Invoke Calamity. And then this would just slot right into there, and then just good removal, and now your removal is even better removal, and you take stuff that can go face, stuff that can exile, you know, the new 2 mana removal spell that exiles now does 5 damage, so you can get rid of a Shield Red with one of those. If this is in play, of course you can have multiple copies of this is in play. When it enters the battlefield, it's an enchantment, so it will trigger your prowess, it'll trigger your Manaform Hellkite, etc, etc, etc. I really like the line where you play the Hellkite, and then you play this the next turn. It triggers, makes a 3/3 dragon from the Hellkite. Now that you've got the 4/4 and the 3/3, they attack in, you're getting in for 7, 8, 9 damage because it's red or artifact source you control. So even your red creatures, your red removal spells, your red artifacts, whatever, are doing an additional 1, and this is going to be, I think, really good. I've got so many ideas. I've already seen Croaky's put it in a Rakdos deck on his stream, where it's like helping the triggers from the Onicult Anvil to do 2 damage instead of 1. But yeah, the possibilities are nice with this one, and I definitely think it's going to see some play, and I love the artwork on it. But I think that's it. No, we still got a couple more, so I'm just kind of mentally trying to remember what's next in the order. But this one you've also seen me play with already on the channel. What a ridiculous card. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast spell from the top of your library. And then once during each of your turns, unfortunately it's just on your turn, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost. So I've been doing, you know, cheating this in, reanimating this in. You can, there's so many ways of getting this into the battlefield early, because of course 8 mana is quite a bit. But you can reanimate this on turn 4 in some decks, like I've tried with the Naya deck recently, and then you're just casting Titans of Industry for no mana every turn, etc. It's bonkers, mate. And I think maybe just in like Janklord decks, and like it'll be remain to be seen. In best of 3, I don't know. In best of 1, I think we're gonna be seeing this. I mean, it's kind of like, at the time, I even put up 2 or 3 different videos with Velemachus and Invoke Justice. Now we've got another 5 mana spell that reanimates things. We've lost Velemachus, but there's all these cool, like, top crazy stuff to reanimate. And it all kind of works with each other. And the world spell, Read Ahead Saga. I mean, go watch yesterday's video. The possibilities are bonkers, and I think if it gets ironed out and built properly, it might even be a like pretty decent best of 3 deck. I'll be interested to see if it ends up making any sort of tournament results or what have you, as the meta progresses after the set drops. But still, just a obviously bonkers card. Yeah, let's see. Maybe like a top end also for some weird like Izzet control deck. Top end for like some weird Bazorius control deck. The possibilities are pretty endless with this one. Free spell once a turn. Then we got Lay Down Arms. This one is donk. I totally undervalued this one. In mono white, obviously, like especially aggro. It's just, why not? You give the opponent 3 life, fine. That's the only real downside. I mean, on turn, on curve and thing, turn 4, you can exile a Sheoldred for 1 mana. Sure, opponent gains 3 life. Fine. It's just so efficient. And even in decks that, I'm sure it'll end up showing up in decks that aren't just mono white. Like, even maybe Esper that plays Rafine's Tower that is also plains, and they play, I don't know. This is a really strong little removal spell. I think it's going to end up being a 4 of in mono white aggro. Mark my words. Then we got Portal to Phyrexia. It's basically all the cards that I had the most fun with in a row from the early access. This one is also ridiculous, and I kind of have the same point to say about this one as I have the blue enchantment from just 1 or 2 slides ago. It's like, I don't know if it's going to be super competitive, and if there'll be a deck that plays like 4 of these in the main deck that like ends up getting any results at a big event or whatever. But maybe, actually, because like it's freaking ridiculous. Could cheat this in on, again, like turn 4, turn 5. Opponents finally just kind of created a board presence. You just sack his whole board, and then you start just stealing their graveyard. Or you can just use it in a way where you've been like discarding your own things, and then just be bringing your own stuff back from the graveyard every turn 1 for free. They're not legendary, so you can have multiple copies on the battlefield. It's just a little bit bonkers. You can definitely blink it. It's blinkable. Doesn't say when you cast it or anything, so like you can just repeat that effect. There's many ways of doing that. I think this might end up being a player, but only time will tell. Maybe I'm reading it completely wrong, and it's just a fun sort of meme deck card. Let's see. Let's check in a few weeks and see who was right and who was wrong. Of course, I want you guys to let me know. Everything I've said is total trash. Let me know in the comments if you love my takes. Let me know in the comments. Other things you wanted to bring to my attention, whatnot. Let me know in the comments. But next up, we got Harbin, the Vanguard Aviator. Kind of cheating with this one because we already had one like Azorius deck soldier, but we kind of into the honorable mentions section. This dude is gonna be a thing. It's gonna be in a matter of figuring out how many copies you want to play. It's not, I don't think, the thing you're gonna be wanting to play on turn 2, because it'll just die to everything. So you wait until you have the 5 guys ready to attack, and then you just play it, and they all attack and get the choop 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 choop. See where I'm going? Maybe you play it on turn 4 or 5, where you can also back it up with a counter spell, and then you can guarantee that it'll hit the board, and you've got the 5 attackers ready. This could be. It ended both the matches in the video I put up on the channel, but I played it a lot during the day, and I initially started without Harbin because I'd forgotten, and I was playing with just the flash guy, and then I remembered Harbin, and the deck just went into hyperdrive. Like, it's really not that difficult to get the 5 soldiers down, especially with all the flash tokens and whatever, and then you just drop Harbin, +1/+1 flying, kill. It's super strong. Watch out for soldiers. I won't say that. Like, you know, it won't be the last time I say that. Next up, we got Bitter Reunion. This talking about Grixis Reanimator. That's probably going to be the next big deck I want to put up on the channel. Like this, draw, discard, right? Nice. It's what you want to do. Discard 1, draw 2. Nice. Very cheap investment for that, and then it just sits there on the battlefield. And then when you cast your reanimation spell, usually, you know, your Titan of Industry can't attack until the next turn or whatever. That's why it's such a good reanimation target, because even though it can't attack straight away, you still get a lot of value from Titan of Industry just when it enters the battlefield. But if it could also attack for just 1 extra colorless, wouldn't that just be ridiculous? And how many other creatures can you say that about that have been, like, you know, reanimation targets traditionally? And now, how many more do we have with the, you know, the new 7-mana worm black prototype guy and all those massive prototype things, and the big all the other big artifacts that don't have prototype. I mean, I'm gonna make a ridiculous Grixis reanimation deck with Tainted Indulgence for card draw. This guy. Of course, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, etc. And I think it's going to be really strong, so stay tuned for that. And I think this could also play really well in Naya enchantments. You know, you play this and mill your Catilda Rising Dawn, the one with Disturb, into your yard, whilst at the same time triggering your Kami of Transience and your, you know, all your enchantment stuff. And then at some point, you know, you can just whatever. I mean, there's so many possibilities with this. Play your Catilda onto your I don't know. There's loads of decks that I think this could actually go in, and it's already seen quite a bit of play just from like what I've been watching on other content creators. I think this is a sweet little card. For common, it's one of the ones I'm most excited to test out in the next couple of weeks. Next up, we got Soul Partition. This one definitely overperforming. It's been making the rounds. It's in all the various types of... It can go well in tempo, it goes well in control, it can go even in an aggro deck. Like, it's just simple. It's just like the Elite Spellbinder. Kind of, if the Elite Spellbinder didn't have an expose your hand thing, but it just like, unfortunately, the opponent's already like gotten their value from playing the card. But if you need to make sure that that thing is away from the battlefield for a few turns, Soul Partition is great. Cost them 2 more to cast it. Maybe you've got other tax effects, and you can see here, I mean, they've even put it with Elite Spellbinder right there. Definitely overperforming for me in the early access event, and I think, yeah, we'll definitely see lots of play. I don't know if it'll end up being like a 3 or 4 of, but definitely more than a 2 of in the decks that want it. Then we got Pyrrhic Blast. Now this is with the second last card of the deck, and this is, again, I'm kind of just leaving you some teasers for brews that I've already got thought up in my mind that I just cannot wait to get the cards for, to just start brewing straight away. But there's so many massive creatures that Pyrrhic Blast, I think, is going to be one of those, you know, fling big thing at opponent's face win cons that there's been, you know, at varying points in Standard a way of doing. We had that Body of Research card from oh my goodness, Strixhaven, that made like a massive token the size of your library, and then we'd fling that at the opponent. In this case, I'm going to be using Pyrrhic Blast to fling this. So basically, Pyrrhic Blast, it's like fling in a sense. You can also draw a card though, which I love. It's instant speed, which of course it had to be. You sacrifice a creature and it deals damage to any target equal to the sacrificed creature's power, and you draw a card. Epic. And the card I'm most excited about Pyrrhic Blasting is Rootwire Amalgam. You play this on turn 5 to 5/5. You have to leave it there on the battlefield. So maybe you play it on turn 6, you hold up a Tamio Safekeeping, and then you wait. And then the next turn, you transform it into a 15/15. But, meanwhile, you're doing stuff. You got your Gruul artifacts deck popping off, aggro artifacts, boom, 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 keeping the opponent occupied with your automaton, patchwork automaton, and the 1-mana teething wormlet guy that we just saw, etc. And then you slowly line this up, and then finally you transform by paying 5 mana. The Rootwire Amalgam becomes a giant golem artifact creature token with haste, so you swing in straight away, of course. And if they have way of blocking or whatever, fine. At least you get rid of a creature, and then at some point you can just instant speed your Pyrrhic Blast and just 15 damage to face and draw a card. Seems pretty fun, like super janky, but something that I'm really excited to try out. Like, I think we can definitely find a deck that can do like 5 damage to the opponent and like give us enough like creatures and interaction to survive until which point then we can do the remaining 15 with a Rootwire Amalgam being flung at your face. I think it's doable, and I, for one, I can't wait to try it. But that is going to be it for this episode of, Chin Wagon with the Lone Fox, because I don't really have a title. I just wanted to do a list of things I enjoyed from early access, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me talking. If you did, leave me a like and some comments down below. I will be seeing you all tomorrow with some fresh MTG Bro brews, and until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab signing out. Peace, y'all.